Hey Luna, what are you manifesting?
Hi, this is Camber.
Hi, this is Nakisha, and you're listening to Wise and
Wise and
Weird.
Weird.
Well, speaking of astrology, no, but yeah, you want to get into the astrology
Yeah,
forecast?
what's in our stars?
um, well, the stars be tripping right now. I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, there's not like currently right now. Not a whole lot going on, but upcoming we do have some stuff going on. So by the time that this airs, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on right now. Um, so right now it's Sun in Sagittarius season, and it's going to be going until December 21st. So with Sun in Sagittarius, it's a really good time for exploration. There's going to be like new ideas coming in, flowing in. And Sagittarius is very philosophical. So, yeah, especially around when it comes to like religion or the law and like core beliefs, which is really cool. So we may be already experiencing some of these like transitions. It also depends on if you have any Sagittarius placements, especially in like your big three, which is the sun sign, moon sign, or your rising and ascendant. Um, so yeah, Sun in Sag. Mercury is also in Sagittarius right now. So Mercury is the planet of communications. It's also the planet of technology, which is kind of funny because yeah, when Mercury goes retrograde, everything's just like you just literally can't anything. um, so yeah, Mercury right now is in Sagittarius. So with communications, they can tend to be more philosophical. People can tend to be more coming from a place of curiosity and asking more questions. It's kind of weird because that's something that I've noticed lately. I've been asking a lot more questions, like just out of curiosity, which I know that you do.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I think that's a really good thing to come from a place of curiosity, as a it's more, there's a more openness there, which Sag is all about. Sagittarius is all about expansion. So yeah, it's a really good time for coming to things in a curious way. Um, they don't tend to get too hung up on the details though. So if it's something, if there's like a lot of detailed tasks and things right now, you may be having a little bit of trouble getting to those or even discussing them. Like your meetings might be a little different at work, just different things going on with that. With Mercury and Sagittarius, it's more of a daring, adventurous, bold type of sign. It's a fire sign. So yeah, we could be noticing these things in like our interactions and our communications and our emails where our sign off is, hey, fuck off or whatever, like you can definitely notice it there.
I love it.
Actually, it'd be more like fuck on with Sagittarius because they're very optimistic. That was like the next thing I wrote down. I'm like, actually. But yeah, Sagittarius are very optimistic as well, but they can tend to get like bored or yeah, they can tend to get bored if it's like too detailed, too heavy of a conversation, something like that. So currently, and at the time that this airs too, Venus is in Capricorn. So our Venus is our love sign. It can also be how we show up in friendships, but it's the planet of love, beauty, sensuality, feminine. It's also the planet of the arts. if you're, really artistic, super into the arts, all kinds of different arts. But yeah, Venus is just all about that beauty. So right now Venus is in Capricorn, which is a very earthy sign. Capricorn is very serious, especially when it comes to their money. Especially when it comes to their money and their finances and their nice things. That's what Capricorn's all about. So basically our left sign is in Capricorn right now. It's a very earthy energy. Finances can come up right now, especially in, love relationships, finances between, it could even be, between your partner, your friends, even if you're like, I don't know, in some kind of situation where you are sharing finances with something or going in on buying something together or whatever. Especially right now is the time that like everyone's shopping and stuff for Christmas, right? So yeah, it's kind of funny that Venus is in Capricorn, like right around this time too. It's like all about money, finances. Capricorn is very much about stability and security. So yeah, there may be some conversations that come up around finances in romance, or there can be changes to it to create more stability and security in the relationship. Capricorn has a maturity to them as well. So there could be something that happens in the relationship or between you two that is, or between you three or four or however many, but I don't discriminate. But there could also be, what was I trying to say? Like changes that, oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the maturity. So there's going to be a sense of like accomplishment or maturity. So something could change that like deepens the connection between you two. And it's like a next level, but in a mature type of way, or in a, moving forward together type of way, that just unifies things, and it's not like dramatic or petty or things like that. You feel like you're moving forward and growing together, is a good way to put that. So yeah, Venus in Capricorn is happening for a little while, actually quite some time. I can't remember exactly what that is going until, but I believe it's happening for the next couple of months. And then on December 19th, we will be having a full moon in Gemini, which I'll most likely be going over this in more depth on the next episode, but it's something that I definitely want to mention because it is coming up. So full moon in Gemini, December 19th. Gemini is a sign all about change. They're about education, technology. They're very hands-on. Their body part is actually the hands. So they're all about like building things. They're like the architects of the zodiac. They really like to build things. They're all about the mind and thinking, and they're also the conversationalists. So they're very much like, it's all mental energy with Gemini, and it's also about duality. I know that you have a big sign in Gemini, right?
Rising.
Yeah, okay. I was like, one of your big three is in Gemini. Yeah. So you will probably be feeling the effects of that full moon quite a bit then, especially when it comes to like your social interactions, or when it comes to like others, or like your outward image is going to be like more affected with that. But typically full moon in Gemini is going to bring change. It's going to bring spontaneity. There's going to be a lot of like thinking around things, a lot of ideas, a lot of sharing. Gemini is about sharing that too, not really like keeping those thoughts to themselves. They're going to like express it. They're going to talk about it because they're very big on communication. Yeah, so look out for that. There's going to be like changes in your socialization with that, just expressing your ideas or what you're thinking, what's on your mind. And then at the time of the full moon, it's really good to ask yourself, like, what can I let go of? So if there's things getting in the way from you being that social person or expressing yourself, or expressing what you're thinking, then it would be a really good time to dig deep and figure out what those things are and try to use the energy of that moon to let go of those things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't want to interrupt you though if you're still going.
No, I was just gonna be like, astrology. That was it.
Yay. I was on Gala Darling's call the other day, and they went over like your aesthetic, like the way you dress and stuff. And I'd never heard this before, but she talked about using your Venus sign, which mine is Sagittarius, as the way you dress. But before she told us that, she was like, write down all the words that how you want to feel in your clothes and like how you look and stuff. And I was like, bold, empowered, fiery. I was like writing all this stuff down. And then she was like,
what?
Yeah. And then she was all, okay, now like look at your Venus sign and see what it was in. And mine's in Sagittarius. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I just thought that was
amazing.
Fun. Yeah. And then she quickly told us to throw away all the clothes that don't make us feel that way. And you know me, I love throwing away things. So I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Her even suggesting that. I'm like, I will not.
I will absolutely not.
I will keep this jacket that I've had for 15 years in my closet. Thank you. That doesn't fit. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm so not about that. But that is really cool though, that your keywords matched up with like the energy of that sign. That's really cool. I have a fire Venus sign as well. Mine is in Aries.
Oh, okay.
So now I need to go back and look, because I know I definitely wrote down bold. I wrote down colorful. So she had us do an activity in the vortex where we were like writing
really?
stuff down. Yeah. Because right now it's the module for this month is like about fashion and stuff, like your outward appearance and stuff like that.
A lighter hearted one than the last 3 months.
Oh my gosh, the last ones have been heavy, but I'm like I love that stuff. I'm just sitting there crying, like, beat me up. I love this. Like, it's just, I have to have it like just so intense all the time. It's so bad though, because like, yeah, I just can't be, I don't know. I feel like that's not totally normal nor healthy probably, but I feel like I like have to dig deep.
Normal anyway.
Yeah, what's normal? No one's normal anymore.
No, seriously. No one ever was.
No, everyone has like something. It's just kind of like, okay, like, can I deal with this? Like, oh no, okay, you're totally like psycho over here, but like, can I deal with this person that has like some anxiety? Like, yeah, okay, let's get with it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So everyone has something. They all have like trauma. Yeah. If you didn't have trauma before, you do now after 2020. So like none of us are normal now. So no. There's that.
I feel like it just shined a light on all the things that weren't normal anyway, but everyone was hiding it, and now like no one can.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone probably feels really exposed right now. So cool.
Wow. Speaking of
manifesting.
Manifesting. Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this. It's like one of my favorite topics of all time.
I knew you would be. I knew it. When I think of manifesting, I think of you.
Cute. I love it because I talk about it incessantly.
You do. You talk about it a lot, but you manifest a lot. And you're a quick manifester too. You'll literally like, I'll watch it sometimes. You'll think of something like this podcast. You'll think of something and then all of a sudden it's like just there. And I remember, yeah, just catching up with you, like before we were doing this podcast, we would just catch up every once in a while, right? To like, hey, what's going on in your life? Hey, this is, and like every week that we catch up, I'm like, what's happening? What? Like you would just have so much stuff to update me on every time. And I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. But I'm like,
Yeah.
but whoa, you like take me for a ride. But yeah, you definitely have it down. So I'm excited to do this episode because I definitely um yeah, I'm really interested to hear what you have to say on it. And maybe if you have like certain, you know, techniques or processes that you do to help would be cool. Or yeah, just whatever you want to share on that. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Well, same. I feel like we have manifested. I've watched you manifest things, really, really big things, and in very
Yeah.
different ways than I do. So I think that's really fun. So I'm pretty excited about that as
Yeah, I was
well.
thinking about that because yours is very not that you are only limited to this, but like when you manifest, a lot of it's very you know, business and money and, you know, success in that way. And so when we were talking about, you know, doing this episode on manifesting, I'm like, well, what would I really talk about? Because it wouldn't really be in that certain way. But then I was like, wait, like I manifested, mine are like these certain experiences, which I'm sure you do that as well. But, you know, mine would be more like experiences and even like people that have come into my life, which sounds weird to say like, oh, I manifested them. But yeah, so I was like, no, I do have some things I could contribute. I have about like a solid 3 minutes. So
Well, not even true. I feel like there's a difference, to clarify, between manifesting something and then being ready to accept that that has manifested in your life.
true.
So
Let's
I
talk
think,
about it.
yeah, like I think that it was actually crazy because I wrote down this quote. It was "Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it" by Maya Angelou. So ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. And I think that the thing is like we can manifest all day long, but sometimes when it arrives, then we shut it out. So I think
Totally.
maybe we manifest more than we think we do, but then
Mm-hmm.
maybe we get scared or maybe we walk away from it. It's like, oh shit, it's here. I am not ready for this, you know, and I've done that too. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all have done that. So
Yeah.
I think there's that clarification too of just like it's not just about being like asking for what you want and then getting what you want. Like manifestation is not entitlement. Like,
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I think we can manifest those things and like then not be ready to receive them.
Yeah. I totally think so. I totally agree with that. Or not even recognize that we had manifested that. Um, yeah, I totally think so. I think we get in our own way a lot. I know I actually do. Um, but yeah, do you have certain, I mean, do you feel like in the beginning, actually, I don't know when you would have considered like you started manifesting, like consciously manifesting. Do
Consciously,
you
yeah.
feel like there has been a point, like a turning point where like you were just kind of going through life and didn't really know or whatever, and then all of a sudden you were like consciously manifesting and like really like actually setting out an intention or had a certain, you know, thought or plan? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For me it was 2017. I'm on this day at this time. No. Um, it was in 2017 is when I started like consciously manifesting. And then I realized for me, it's like you just make a decision. I think before I thought manifesting was kind of like this wishy-washy, like I put out a want or a desire into the universe, and then it like happens. But then in 2017, I like had this realization of like, if I really actually decide like that there is no other option, like, hey, I want to be a millionaire and that's just going to happen, period. Like I realized like not entertaining any other options. Um, that's when I consciously started like making those choices in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like that feeling in your gut of just like being sure and trusting that it's going to happen, you know?
I don't even know exactly when I feel like I started consciously manifesting things. It started with writing detailed lists of stuff, like the next place I wanted, the next job I wanted, the person that I wanted to meet. I started just writing really detailed lists and then trying to feel that feeling. And I would say I probably started doing that back in like 2015-ish. Yeah, maybe 2015, 2014. I know it was a couple years before I became the certified Reiki master, which that was in 2016. Just so crazy. That was a long time ago and I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, I just didn't do anything. Cool. But yeah, so it was a couple of years before then. So I'd say probably 2014-ish. And yeah, what kind of things have you manifested since then?
Oh my goodness. I was like, I should keep an ongoing list. I feel like I definitely manifest the people in my life a lot. Like I'll think of a type of friend or person I need in my life and they somehow appear, you know, if it's like I need a coach and then it's all of a sudden like you have like these really amazing coaches around you, or like with Dallin, for instance, me and Sakara were in Spain and we were like drinking tea or cacao in the mornings. And I was saying like, I want someone playful and I want someone who's more compassionate and who's more like present and stuff like that. And so then like I definitely did with Dallin as well. I think I manifest people. I've manifested my company. I've manifested the amount of money I make that a month, you know. I've definitely manifested just, gosh, I just feel like everything. I manifest the way that I live my life, like every single day. Like I've manifested the ability to have my own schedule, to be my own boss, but also have a kind of company that gives me the freedom to travel and be way more hands off when I want to be. So I've manifested freedom of time, which was really important to me and was like a non-compromisable moving forward in my life.
That's huge.
Yeah. Like when I finally quit my 9 to 5, I was like, that has never again. Like my time is mine. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess there's specific things I manifest all the time too, but the list is long every day. And you?
And me, yeah.
and our transitions are always so smooth.
I know.
It's your turn. Go.
Oh, I love it. And I always like freak out too once you switch it to me. I'm like, I can't talk right now. If you have a message, leave it.
I like have a hard time talking about myself too. So I'm like, I manifested these things. I'm like, okay, it's your turn.
Yeah, you're like, hey, you go now. And I'm like,
hot potato.
It really is just hot potato back and forth. Oh, I love that. Yeah, when it comes to things I feel like I've manifested, my old apartment was one of them. I remember being like super excited to get into that apartment. It was really nice. And I remember leaving and feeling like, oh, I've only been here for a year. I didn't want to move yet, but yeah, there's been like apartments that I've done that with. There's been jobs that I've done that with. And it's kind of funny. This is something that I wanted to bring up too, because I feel like there's been times where I'll get really specific, right? And so I manifest something, and then I'm like, wait, no, not like that. Like it will literally happen. And then I'm like, wait, but oh, I forgot to also put in that I wanted it to be this and this. Like, oh yeah, I wanted a spiral staircase, but I wanted it to actually go to a second floor. Like there like there could be like just a spiral staircase in the corner, like for decoration, you know, and it doesn't go. So there's things like that where it's like, okay, you want this, like here it is. And then you're like, oh wait, well, I forgot to also say that. I'm trying to think of like a specific example right now, but I feel like my manifestations happen a lot like that. And I've done that with jobs. Like, oh, I want this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to say that I want a boss who like tries to understand me or respects my time or my boundaries around time. You know, there's certain things like I'll get this job and I'll have like such a cool time with my coworkers because I'm like, oh, I put all this stuff about like the job being fun and yeah, but then I'm not respected or something like that, you know, and I'm like, oh, I should have probably included that. So my manifestations can kind of unfold like that sometimes, but yeah, I got like super detailed before meeting Torrance. And because honestly, at that time, I was so done with dating. I was over it. I was just like done. So, but it was weird because I also at the same time had a really strong feeling that someone was about to enter my life and that I was ready for this kind of like partnership or relationship in a different way than I've ever experienced before. Like the person that I was going to marry or have kids with, or like it was just going to be different than any of my previous relationships. And I had that really strong feeling around the same time too. So it was weird. It was like I was inviting this in, but then I like wasn't at the same time. And then it was right around the time of that full solar eclipse, which was like the coolest thing I've ever witnessed in my life. But I right around that time, like I feel like a portal was opened up or something. But that's right around when I met Torrance. I had a detailed list, and really what was behind it, like, yeah, you can have the detailed list and like read it and stuff, and that's cool. But what it's supposed to do, the important thing about that is it's supposed to invoke the feeling. So like the feeling of what it's like to have that. And that's what's like super important. That's the point that I really wanted to make on this podcast episode. Because yeah, I would read it and get like a feeling. And it was weird because once I met Tor, I knew pretty early on, I was like, this is how it felt. This is how, when I read those things, I recognized the feeling when I was with him. So that was really cool. But yeah, I totally feel like I manifested him and that relationship, or our relationship, because yeah, I even said like out loud, oh, I want to date, I got really specific with astrology too. Oh, I want to date a Virgo with his Venus sign in Leo. And then I ended up finding out that that's what he is. So that was really cool. Also getting pregnant and not really knowing what to expect. I was kind of scared of like labor and stuff, you know, I didn't know really what to expect. Other moms were telling me, oh, you're crazy for having a natural birth, like you're not going to go through with it. So that was really hard too. But it was weird. It's like I had this knowing, I had this feeling inside of me, and I would picture it all the time. And I was like, no, I'm going to have this water birth. I'm going to have this natural birth. And like it was kind of this knowing before it ever even happened. I could visualize it, and then it happened. So I feel like I really manifested that experience as well, where I really started seeing the effects of manifesting, I guess, which would have been with Sakara, which she's a really good manifester as well. When we were on our trip, where we were backpacking through New Zealand, and we went to Thailand, and we were gone for like 2.5 months. And we were like couch surfing, staying at people's houses. It was crazy because there were sometimes like we wouldn't have a place to stay that night. We wouldn't know where we're going to stay. We wouldn't know, or like we would be stuck somewhere. We'd be somewhere and we had to like hitchhike and get a ride to like a totally different like part of the country. Like it was crazy. And we would literally like we would get together and be like, okay, someone's going to come up within the next 10 minutes and they're going to be traveling from here to here and they're going to pick us up and be able to take us. And it would literally happen every time. It happened all the time. And on that trip, while on that trip, it started becoming like a daily thing. It was kind of fun. Like we would like sit and play around with the universe. Like, okay, so today this is what we're manifesting. And it was really cool. And I think there's a lot of power behind not just one person. Like when multiple people have that same feeling, that same vision, like this podcast even coming to fruition, like it's even more powerful and happened even faster with, both of us manifesting this. So yeah, I've had some really cool or like neat experiences with manifesting as well, I feel like.
Yeah. I feel the same way when me and Sakara are together. I feel like it's just exponential. Like everything that happens to us on our travels is always like just like divine, I don't know, intervention almost, but I like to think of it as like a co-creation with the universe. And I also, because I believe that like manifesting, it's like you have to actually take action as well. It's like if you go out to the full sun or the full solar eclipse and you are reading those out and you're having that feeling or whatever, but then you went home and you locked yourself in your bedroom and like didn't get on like a dating app or go outside ever again, like you probably aren't going to find tour, so I think there is a sense of it, of like still having to take action. And that's something that I think a lot of the wellness community right now is kind of missing. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people want to be in this like more flowy, like just complete, like, oh, I am putting out this rocket of desire and it's going to come back tenfold. And it's like, yes, but like also you have to like act and be prepared to receive by, and that can look like, for business, for me, it means like learning about business, or if it's a relationship, it means showing up and like healing your wounds so that when that person does arrive, like you're ready for a relationship. So I think like it's just that co-creation with the universe. But yeah, and I think I manifested things from like a very, very young age, because my dad used to tell me like from before I can remember, like opportunity or success is when opportunity meets preparedness. And he used to just like drill
Ooh.
this in me every day of my life. And so like it doesn't surprise me that like I kind of think that way. But I've meditated too far before I realized that's what manifesting is. And I was always a big daydreamer. So it's like I would get into the visualization of it all. Like the visualization of like what I want. I'm so good at that. Like I can see it. I can like taste it and feel it. And that's also what I use for like embodied breath work, is to like, it's breath work is to like feel back into your body and to feel into like your womb space and stuff like that. Which also, because it's like you can use sex magic, right?
Yes, I
And
actually
so,
wrote that down in my notes. But yeah, that's
yeah,
super powerful.
because our wombs are the creation of life, and an orgasm and sex is what creates life. And for all animals, for whatever. And so it's a very powerful energy, I think. It also is the moment, like if you're in the middle of an orgasm, like you can't be distracted, right? You can't feel bad in that moment. It's like physically, biologically impossible. So it's like the most pure, energetic, like divine release of energy that you have, and there's no like you're not sitting there orgasming, like having doubt, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make this money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I do that too. That's one of the practices that I've definitely used. I wouldn't say that I use it like as frequently. I mean, I probably should, but so it's like breath work,
Yeah.
meditation, sex magic, those things I think really help you get into the feeling of it as well. But you do have to show up too. You have to actually do shit.
Yeah. The
Co-creation.
orgasm won't just come to you, you know.
But you just keep doing that as much as you want, and we'll see. There's nothing bad's gonna happen. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you've tried any of those or what some of your techniques. I know you said like astrology and stuff. How do you get into the feeling for you?
Well, I use astrology more as a guide, I guess. That one's not really as like for getting into the feeling. It's more as a guide of like, oh, okay, the moon phase right now is this, so I'm not, you know, if it's a new moon, then okay, yeah, now is a good time to write my goals that I want to see come to fruition. It's not a time of like, well, what am I letting go of, or things like that. Like I'll use, I kind of just use the stars as like energetic of like what's going to be most in alignment. So if Mercury's in retrograde, I'm not going to like set up an interview or like send out some super important email, things like that. So that's why I wrote astrology down, is because I do use it as a guide to help in manifestation and help it align more. I just kind of use those energies to help it in alignment, or bring me to alignment. I have used sex magic, not a whole lot. That's something that I haven't really like dove in too much, but so as far as like visualizing what you want and visualizing, I'll visualize, and then while you're having an orgasm, and then it's like really powerful. I do actually I've actually listened to, it was one of Darling's podcasts, and she's talking about it, and the woman that she's interviewing talks about how she does it every single day. She has an orgasm every day. And it's really like powerful and stuff. And I was like, oh wow, like I bet there's a lot of women listening to this like, whoa, what? Like I don't, you know. But that in itself is like super, super powerful. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. But so I definitely don't practice it like that. But you know, I'll do like the visualization and stuff, and it seems pretty cool, seems pretty powerful. And what else? The lists, the detailed list. I'm all about lists anyway, though. Like I love it. I live for it. And like highlighting something off of my list, especially when it's my yearly list of like, it's like a kind of a bigger goal of like something I want to do for the year. Oh my gosh, highlighting make a podcast. I was just like, oh, like you want to talk about sex magic? Like that was that was amazing.
You can find Nakisha in her room with her highlighters.
Yes. I always have my highlighters with me. Like I love highlighting stuff off. I'm like, hey, like that's kind of my goal. Like, what can I highlight off my list today? And I just that works for me. Some people it doesn't work for, and I get that. It works for me. I handwrite everything out too, so that I can highlight it and cross it out. Everyone's like switching over to digital, and I'm like, nah, like I've got my planner in my bag. I literally have a planner that I'll flip open and write in, and people are like, what are you doing? Like, I'm penciling you in, duh. So
I love that.
I just get out my feather quill, my ink pad. Oh my gosh. I'm so bad when it comes to technology anyway. So yeah, that's kind of just the direction I'm going. But
It's not as satisfying.
oh my God, so sad. Yeah, it's really not. What, I'm gonna delete my words that I typed in? That's not as fun to me. Like I need to cross it off. I need a highlighter. I need something that just screams on the page like, bitch, you did this. And I'm like, yeah,
Bitch,
I
you
did.
did it.
I'm like, yeah, I did. Thanks, yellow highlighter. Um, so yeah, my detailed list, love it. But yeah, I'll get really detailed so that when I'm reading it, I'm like feeling it and I'm able to visualize it. But that is one thing, like I do definitely visualize. That's like the biggest part of my manifestation process is visualizing it. I have to really feel like, okay, like I can see myself driving this car. I can see myself on this vacation. I can see myself, you know, doing this thing. I could see myself having my baby, and it was beautiful. But yeah, I definitely have visualization as a big part of it. Let's see. I use water, like my moon water. But that also goes into like astrology, right? But like during certain phases, during the moon will have a certain type of energy depending on what sign it's in or what's going on with it, what phase it's in. So I'll make moon water on my full moons normally, sometimes my new moons as well. And then I drink it. And that will kind of help with manifesting a certain type of energy. So yeah, if it's like a Sagittarius moon and I want to travel somewhere soon or buy tickets somewhere, then I'm going to drink that damn moon water. I'm going to drink that moon water and I'm going to visualize myself overseas somewhere, you know. And sound is a really good way. I'm kind of just naming things that help, I guess, with my visualizations, but sound, which I know that you also practice as well, is a really good way to get that energy like moving. Some people have a harder time with visualization, but to me, like sound, when it comes to energy healing, there's a lot of things that are like all mystical and you can't see them, right? But with sound, it's like energetically there. Like you can't deny the vibrations that are happening and stuff. So
yeah,
I feel like when people have a harder time with visualizing or with like these concepts of like, because I get it. Some people are like, oh, I'm totally not into astrology at all. And I totally get why they wouldn't be, because that one's more like energetic feelings, you know. But like with the sound bowls and just the sound music, whatever, like you can't deny that there's those sound waves there, there's those vibrations happening. And yeah, when it comes to the whole process of manifestation, that's a big one. That's what you're doing, right? You're taking a thought, and which is just pure energy, and bringing it into a physical form, basically. So these are kind of the tools that help me to get there. But
yeah,
sacred geometry and runes I actually use as well. I'm not super like, I definitely have a knowledge of them and I've been using them for quite some time, but I don't know how to really totally describe that. But yeah, there's certain shapes that have like a vibration to them too. And they're really powerful and you can use them in different ways and stuff. You can put stones and crystals on them, which I also use stones and crystals too. There's some that are really good for manifestation. But yeah, those are kind of tools that help me to visualize and get that feeling, because that's like the main thing for me in manifesting. Also saying it out loud to others helps magnify it. It would want to be someone you would trust, though, not just anyone, just like telling your dreams to everybody, because I kind of not like about that. I feel like other people's energy can get in on things.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
someone that you're like more aligned with, that you like, you know, really trust, that actually can see the vision with you and like will root for you and like,
yeah,
you know, want that for you too. Because I think there's a lot of power in, like I said earlier, like other people having that same vision and putting that out there as well. It just accelerates that. One of the big things that really helped me, just really quick, with manifestation, or like realizing it or doing things differently, is Conversations with God. Did you ever read those books or like hear about them? They sound super religious, I know, and which I'm not. And they may not be for everyone, I don't know, but they're not, it's not religious to me. So it's a series, there's 3 books. The first one is about like yourself, your relationship with God. But really in these books, it talks about the universe. So a lot of like the stuff that I've kind of always believed in, when I read these books, I was like, whoa, like it really clicked for me. But it talks about like more, because I'm more, you know, believe in like the universe. And yeah, anyway, so it's not like a super religious book, like the name kind of seems. And then the second one is more like on this planet or like as a society. And then the third one explores concepts of like life on other planets or like the universe. And just, yeah, things with that. It's really cool. They actually changed my life. But in the first one, he actually breaks down like how to manifest, like the process of it, how it starts out as a thought and then it's a feeling, and then and he talks about then that feeling turns into like emotion. You want an emotion from it because that's literally emotion, energy in motion. I was like, that's cool, like how it breaks down words and stuff. But that's kind of where the concept first came about, of like consciously doing that, I guess.
Yeah.
What are some of your tips or strategies that you do though?
Well, I think there's a lot of power. I know you were saying with like when there's more than one person, um, it's ritual, really. So I think that's honestly why like religion is so big and is so powerful. And it's like all of the places I've been in the world, which is quite a few of different countries with different religions. It's like you walk into, you know, whatever kind of religious building, and you can like the energy is like thick, like you can feel it when you walk in. And I've, you know, I've had spiritual experiences inside churches, and I'm not a religious person by any means. And so with that in mind, it's like I think there's a lot to be said about ritual, right? It's like thousands of years, all these people have done these rituals in a certain way at a certain time with groups of people. And so I find that the best way to do that is to do the same thing, like create groups of women, or for me, it's women. Like that's who I feel I would like to manifest with. But for whoever you're comfortable with, or whatever group of, you know, people that works for you. And then committing to like a certain amount of time with those people, whether it's like a year or 2 years or whatever, and having rituals together. And your intentions can be different. Like you can have different projects you want to manifest or whatever. But I think there's a lot to be said about doing the same ritual over and over. And I would say for anyone starting, instead of getting overwhelmed, is like choosing like one thing to do, whether it's like once a week for an hour, or if it's every day for 10 minutes. I don't think that there's like a right way necessarily. It's just like what you can do. Um, but I would say choosing something, if anything, you know, mine changes too, where it's like it was meditation for like a decade. And then it was like writing for a couple of years. It's like writing every single morning. And it's just like, I think rituals are very, very powerful if done consistently. I think that gives the energy of commitment. I think that gives the energy of dedication and seriousness about what you want. And
And
I think,
believing in it,
yeah.
showing up and showing that you're believing in that. Yeah.
And when you keep doing that, and it's like also giving that energy that you actually trust the universe and you're not just doing it once and then being like, oh, fuck, it didn't show up. Like
Yeah.
that bitch is not showing up, you know? It's like, no, you have to like just trust like the universe and that energy will show up when it's time for it to show up. And how it shows up, it may be different than what you think.
Mhm.
And so I think there's a lot to be said about those things. And then I also constantly listen to, and I know you do too, like Abraham Hicks. And
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
like look them up on YouTube or whatever. And I read The Law of Attraction and I have some like things about it that really bother me. And I think for me, coming from a place of like privilege, I was like, it's easy for like privileged people to be like, oh, I manifest everything, you know? And it's like, I think that there's like some sensitivity around like we can be really big manifestors, but we also have to be aware of what was privileged to us, you know? And
Yeah.
so I had some issues with like some of the things that were put in that book, I think. But for the most part, I really like her. I listened to Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer is a really amazing one that I listen to all of the time. And then Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Yep.
yeah,
That's who I was just gonna mention. Yeah.
because
He's
I read
amazing.
his book, like Changing How to oh man, now I can't even remember. Like
Yeah.
changing who you are, or something like I don't know, I can't remember, but I will put it in the we'll put it in the notes.
Yeah.
And he has like a 45-minute meditation that's part of that book. And I read the entire book twice now, and I do those meditations pretty religiously. And that is visualization, but it's interesting because the first like 10 minutes you spend feeling into your body, and so to make sure that you're
Nice.
actually feeling yourself before doing it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, it always usually comes back to writing and meditation. But also for me, the reason that writing works is because I visualize before I start writing what I want to write, as opposed to like forcing myself to write just whatever, if that makes sense. So it's like I always
That does
have a
make sense.
narrative going on. Yeah. And so those are like my two main things. But I think if you choose anything and do it, are dedicated to it, like it will definitely help in manifesting.
I
Yeah.
agree. I do the same too. It's weird. I haven't really brought up writing, even in our like rituals episode and stuff. You were like, oh, I write. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's weird. I didn't write that down. I didn't write writing down. But I write all the time. I've always written poetry and like short stories. I have journals from 5th grade. I have all of my journal, like the dumb ones, like, oh, so and so, he said hi to me today. I wonder if he likes me, like just dumb stuff. But I've always been writing and I've always had these journals and it's like super therapeutic. So I definitely agree with writing as well. That's definitely something that I use a lot as well, for sure. Yeah.
I think we're constantly manifesting too. So I think we have to be really careful with our words, self talk and that type of thing.
Oh yeah, I really try not to say like I want this or I can't or certain things like that. Like I'll try to switch words around just because words are powerful. They have a vibration to them, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, saying an I am statement and then whatever is happening after that, like putting that in you're putting that vibration out there. Um, so yeah, there's a lot that comes with manifesting, I feel like. But yeah, I try not to even now I'm like I try not to I try not to even say the word try, but like I'm trying to do this. It's like, well then just do it. Like why are you, and if you're in the vibration of trying, that means that you don't have it, you're not there. Like just do it, just say that you're going to do it. Or so stuff like that. I even get like specific with wording and writing, but
Well,
speaking especially.
yeah, yeah.
What were you gonna say?
You know, it flew out of my my head as soon as I opened my mouth. So it was
Because I
really
was like,
good. I'm sure of it.
oh no. You know, I did that earlier today too. So I did write down vision board is a good way to help visualize, obviously, because you have a visual like right there, but vision boards are really cool. Remember we did that vision board night with Jill? I think that's really cool to
Yeah, it's really
like
fun.
that.
It's a fun way to do that and like get into the joy of it for sure.
Yeah, and get together with other people and do that. I feel like that kind of makes it a little bit more powerful. Um, yeah, and I have saying it out loud, like our recordings, our magical morning practice.
Yeah.
That's also really powerful in manifesting. It's funny because I'll go back and just randomly, I don't know, it will like I'll play one or something and it'll be from a long time ago. And I'm like, wow, this stuff that I'm talking about in this recording is actually happening now. And I didn't realize. So yeah, that's a really cool way to do it as well.
Yeah. I yeah, I've gone back and listened to the magical mornings too, and like a lot of that stuff has manifested, and that's really amazing. Talking about it as if it's happened and believing it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really powerful, I feel like. So
Yeah.
yeah, manifesting.
Manifesting for sure. Well, it's been an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
So,
has.
yeah. If we want to pull a card,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Let's manifest
totally,
this. What card do we want to pull?
I know. I'm going to do the Untethered Soul.
Oh, is that a new one?
Yeah, I've only used it like twice.
That's cool.
So we'll see. It's interesting. It's a lot different than the other ones, but I like it. I don't know. It's super cute. It's not exactly me and like the artwork, just a random horse like running on the beach. It's like, oh
I
yeah,
like it. It is
I
different though. Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's just like something you'd find as like a stock photo at Walmart, right?
Yeah. Like on a calendar.
Yeah. When I was dating Dallin, like I moved because I had moved into my Airbnb after I got divorced, and I still had like picture frames, and I just set them up, and I left the stock photos in them.
Nice.
I was like, I don't have photos yet. I'm working on it.
It's always some cute little family or something. The stock photos.
I know.
Or a horse running on the beach. It's just one of those.
This is what I
Either of those
want.
two.
Okay. These ones are way more direct too, and there's not even like a little book because they're so direct. So it says, as you let go and willingly release the physical, emotional, and mental aspects of your being, spirit becomes your state.
Wow.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah,
So
that
you are
is.
willing to let go. Your physical, emotional, and mental aspects of being and spirit becomes your state. I feel like, yeah, spirit or a certain vibration. I've never been called to the word spirit
Really?
necessarily, but I like the
Yeah.
idea of it as like a vibrational being in a way.
I don't really say spirit. I'll refer more to soul or, yeah, I don't know, energetic being, or I don't really know. Yeah, I guess maybe spirit kind of sounds um like religious to me more. I don't know. But I don't really
I like the
use that
card for
word.
manifestation though, because it's like letting go of all those things and then you just are in the state of spirit, which in my mind is the state of being an energetic being.
In that energetic vibration.
Yeah.
I thought of what you said earlier, where you just make a decision and it's just, you only focus in on that, like that's the only option. So kind of like letting go of all these other things, right? And you're like just focusing in on honing in on this one thing that you want, and that's like how you manifest. That's actually what popped into my head after you read that card. But
It's true. Well, and when me and Sakara went to Tony Robbins, that is one of the things he brought up, was like he would call people out and people would take the microphone and ask questions, and they would be like, why hasn't this happened for me yet? And he would be like, because you haven't decided it's going to. And just be yeah.
Oh.
And I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Too late to jump in and say it?
Do it.
I was gonna say part of manifesting, a big, huge part of manifesting for me, is taking radical responsibility for your life and taking radical accountability, because it's like otherwise you can't get in that vibration. It's like, oh, okay, all of these other things got in my way, but I drew all of these negative things to me in some way. And I'm not saying like by not being compassionate to yourself or not being like forgiving or anything like that, but like taking that radical responsibility that like potentially your vibration is what's causing all these things to keep getting in your way. And I think that's another huge part of manifestation that a lot of people avoid entirely, because it's a very difficult part of it, is taking that responsibility.
I agree, because that's part of knowing your power. So in part of like manifesting, you're realizing how powerful you actually are and how much power you do have over this. So if you're not acknowledging like, oh, this has been part of my energetic vibration, this has been part of my manifestation, then how are you going to manifest these other things over here if you don't even know your power that you've had in this, or know what effect you've had on this? Does that make sense? But yeah, okay. I'm like I'm like, I totally feel like I get what you're saying here, but yeah, it to me it becomes like a power thing. And if you're not like recognizing your part in it, in a way you're kind of giving away your power to something else, and you're not really like being wholly in, you're not all in that process of manifesting, if that makes sense. But yeah,
absolutely,
I agree.
It was a gold nugget that I couldn't remember.
It was a gold nugget, and you just come in at the end, you're like, mic drop.
Okay, bye. Well, I appreciate everyone for listening. We have gotten over 100 listeners at this point, and streams, or whatever the word is, and we're both so grateful for that. And time is precious, and you spend it with us, and I am so happy about that, as I know Nak is as well. So don't forget to be wise
and get weird.